Welcome everyone to another episode of Bruvcast. I'm Raj.
I'm Mick.
We have a very, very, very special guest today. Bruv, this is like our first celebrity guest. Like this is a big deal. I'm so excited. I don't even know the best way to do this intro, but I'm gonna do what I can. And here we go. So 2015, he started out with Tez Talks. Then he appeared in hit show Man Like Mobeen. 2 specials, Testify and Wicked, not Wicked. And he even has a book. This guy has done it all and he's still doing more. Welcome to Bruvcast, Mr. Tez Ilyas. Welcome, bruv.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you very much for having me. That was a you smashed it. Lovely intro.
Thanks, man. This is we're still learning a lot right now. This is episode number 36, right?
36, 37.
Yeah, something
Look,
like that.
I don't have a podcast, so in terms of this, you guys are ahead of the game.
Well, I mean, this is only one part of the game, but you're ahead in many other ways, bro. This is like an experiment that we're having on the side that we've been running for like a while.
But I've got a bone to pick though.
Okay.
Because we tried doing this 3 weeks ago, innit?
We did, bruv.
And yeah, so Raj, you were here.
I was here.
But someone was taking the mic.
I deserve that.
And you're lucky that I'm back.
No, it's true. It's true.
Lesser people wouldn't have come back on.
It's true.
100%.
Bro, genuinely, yeah. Raj, I'm going to be honest, yeah. Raj was like, fuck him, let's do it.
Yeah.
He was.
Hey, wait, hold on.
Raj was like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, oh, but the dynamic is not the same, innit?
Yeah. I'm glad you said that as well, because I was like, wow, this guy just, you were like, I said to Tez, let's just do it. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, what a nice guy Tez is, isn't it? Yeah.
But genuinely,
doing this podcast.
I thought, like, but what if he's dead? We didn't know, because you weren't responding to him, and like, that's your boy. So I was like, bro, it must be serious, innit? So what emergency? What went down? What health, earthquake, whatever, yeah? What happened, Mick? Why couldn't you make the recording with, in your own words, celebrity guest, first celebrity guest you had on your podcast, bro? In your words, what happened, bro? What was this big thing that went down that meant you stood me up?
I should have looked for a better excuse, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Which now that you've built it up so much, yeah, it's going to be like, So basically, I was asked with the duty to put my daughter to sleep at 7:30 p.m. Right, and we were still jet lagged. That's my excuse. Yeah, got her in a bed. And she was like, and I was doing my research for, last bits of research on my phone.
Yeah, Raj said you were like apparently like
all day,
all over me like a rash,
all day,
yeah,
all day. And I had my iPad. I was in there, and then my little one goes, "Oh, Daddy, I can't go to sleep. Can you just lie down with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." It was 8 p.m. I was like, you know what? I'll be up. I've still got still got time. I didn't wake up until the next day.
This is it.
Yeah.
What was your wife not like? Listen.
So basically,
you got that big thing going on.
Yeah. My wife was downstairs and she didn't come upstairs at all, right? And I woke up in the morning and she was like, "How did it go?" And I was like, it didn't go." And I was like, I knew straight. So, I did. I went about my day, brushed my teeth, had my shower, and I was like, yeah, now maybe time to look at my messages. And I knew straight away, I was like, this guy. But do you know what? Don't worry, I was not going to miss today, right? Because I've been logged on since 9 a.m. sat here, yeah.
And I messaged his wife. I said, look,
yeah. This guy messaged me. He messaged my wife. I'm surprised he didn't dig up my, ancestors, to let them know, that I'm recording today.
Apologies. Message your daughter on Minecraft. Like, make sure Daddy logs on, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So no. Thank you for taking it so well, and apologies.
No, it happens, man. I was like, because he messaged your wife and he's like, the wife's not replying, Mick's not replying, and I was like, bro, it could be anything, innit? It could be serious. I didn't know you just went to sleep.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
But it happens,
that's exactly
man.
what it was.
It
Apologies.
It's all good, bro.
Apologies.
I'm
glad you're still here.
Not needed. It's all good.
No, we appreciate it. It was but he was for the record. Tez was genuinely worried about a stranger that he didn't know who stood him up.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
is what was going down.
Yeah. I was like,
so I think you were more worried than I was.
Raj didn't give a fuck. He was like, "Look, I've got you. This podcast is going down.
When am I going to get another chance with Tez Ilyas, man? For fuck's sake!"
He was like, "Let's record now. Let's do it."
I was like, "Let's record." And Tez like, "No. I'm a man of principle." Where's Mick?
Brought me back. Thank you, Tez. I really appreciate the genuine concern.
I hope it's going to be worth it now. I don't want to be. I don't want to get to an hour in and be like, "Should I just done with this with Raj?"
just be like, cut him off, man. Cut him off.
So welcome to Bruvcast. I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to any of our episodes or know anything about what we're about. Basically, our motto is to share the struggle and find the funny. We're all about just kind of getting Asian men in particular to talk about their own mental health struggles, but doing it in a lighthearted way. We tend to talk a lot about growing up in the 90s or noughties. And just finding like random things that have shaped our characters and led us to become the idiots that we are today. So that's basically what Bruvcast is about. But yeah, tell us about yourself, man. You were on holiday, right? Recently, we originally got connected on Instagram. Shout out to Nisha. Nisha, I think, put a message on one of your posts saying, to do a link up. And I think we started speaking from then onwards, but then you had some travel that you were doing, and then we were kind of like going to catch up afterwards. So yeah, how was the trip?
Yeah, it was amazing, man. So I went to Pakistan, went to, so my mom came with me. So I just went to the village, the Pind, and then went down to Karachi. So my missus then flew out and we met in Karachi. And there's a brilliant charity called Muslim Hands, and we did some fundraising for them last year, which was building homes for people who lost theirs in the awful flooding that happened in the Sindh region in 2022. So we just went out to see the money that people had raised, what had gone on. So we went to see the homes that were built, and then there were a few other projects around Karachi that they wanted to show us as well. And then we also got to see Karachi, which had a place I'd never been to, and which was amazing. So the trip was fulfilling, fun, and full of stomach bugs and food poisoning. So it was great, a very, very good all round trip.
You got the authentic experience then, yeah?
Proper. So there's a famous road in Karachi called Burns Road that does like street food, and everyone who goes to Karachi makes a visit to Burns Road. And so I went to Burns Road. I was all right though. I think I got my food poisoning in the Pind before I went to Karachi. Like it's set in Karachi, but I hadn't had anything to eat in Karachi at that point. And mine was very much one-way traffic. My wife got it towards the end of the trip, and she got it bad. Like it took her 2 weeks to recover.
Oh,
like two-way traffic, it was bad. She had it bad.
That's rough.
Yeah, but she's fine now.
But so you got yours when you were in the bin, not in Karachi.
Well, my symptoms kicked in Karachi.
Okay.
But by that point, I hadn't had anything to eat in Karachi, so I'm pretty sure they'd come from the bin. It would not just be in the air I was breathing.
Okay.
It was the dawat that I had at home.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah. And it was banging. Fried fish, fried chicken. I was like, yes, please, thank you very much. And then I paid for it later.
Do you know what though? It's well worth it though when you have it.
100%.
The taste,
100%. And I need to go to the guys on the street. You're the ones where you're like, he probably has washed his hands, but I don't know if he has washed his hands. And the lesser the hygiene rating, the better the food's going to taste.
True.
It's true.
It's a fact.
100%.
Fact.
Also, I saw that you did stand-up out there.
How
was that?
Yeah, it was great, man. So I managed to get myself. I mean, there's like a start of a scene. So it was an open mic night, and I asked if I could jump on, and they were very kindly enough. They said, yeah. I mean, they kind of had to, I guess. And it was amazing. It was great to see the locals doing their thing. All of it wasn't Urdu until I went on, but they all speak great English, especially in the cities, so that doesn't really matter. But yeah, man, it was really fun watching it, and it was like there's in terms of like content and all that sort of stuff, it's not that different to what you'd hear in the UK. Like they were a bit out there. It was fun to watch.
I'm curious. Like, what was the kind of like the style of the comedy? Like, what were the types of topics? Was it like hyper specific to the region?
Nah, so there were like 7-8 guys on, and they're all doing different things. So some of them was very much talking about relationships, dating, bedroom experiences, which is funny, when you hear it in Urdu. Then some guys were a bit more political, some guys were observational. Obviously, a lot of them didn't have that much experience, so you saw like nerves and all that sort of stuff, and their joke, their writing needed to be a bit developed and stuff. But nah, man, it was like any other open mic scene, but in just in Urdu.
Why is it that bedroom comedy sounds funnier in your native languages?
I don't know. It just does. It just does. I'd have loved to have heard it in Punjabi, but because Punjabi is a filthy language. Punjabi is if you want to swear and be dirty and stuff, Punjabi is the language for it. But they were like doing it nice Urdu.
It's like poetic.
Yeah,
if you do it in Urdu,
poetic and stuff. But in Sindh, they speak Urdu and Sindhi, so they don't speak they can probably understand Punjabi a bit, but it's not their language. Okay. So, whereas if I was in Lahore or Islamabad, maybe then maybe it would have been a bit more Punjabi, I think.
Yeah,
go on. What are you saying, mate? I think it'd be hilarious in Gujarati as well because it's such a soft language, and it's just like the way it will come across to people. It's just like very soft and slow, and I don't know. But you're right. If it was in Punjabi, because it's like really aggressive and really masculine in that sense, it would just land in a different way.
Yeah. No, I had a lot of fun. It was good.
I see that you've been doing the rounds. You've been guesting on some other podcasts as well. How's that been going? Because it feels like you're kind of like getting into more of the podcasting world now.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to start my own podcast at some point, but also because I'm going on tour later this year. Yeah. And so I just want to get my face out there. Mm-hmm. Get my face out there, different audiences, different types of podcasts that bring in that other different, your audience will be different to some of the other podcasts that I've guested on, big, small, in between. And and it's fun getting to know people and networking and just having conversations with people. Because every conversation is slightly different. And it's fun. I had one a couple of weeks ago with a guy from Canada, Desi guy. No, he's Arabic, sorry. He was an Arabic guy but he lives in Canada. And it was great.
Well, we hope that we can kind of give you a different experience to the other ones as well.
Of course.
Mick, did you want to dive in with some of your questions?
I did. So
here we go.
This is what you waited for.
This is we put a pause on for this, Mick. Go on.
Now this better be good.
No, it better be good. My top ones. No, I was insane. You mentioned obviously comedy being a lonely place, right? So for me, when I've never experienced a stage. Never ever. The closest thing for me experiencing any stage is when we're doing speeches at weddings or whatever. And me and Raj like to go, and a group of our friends like to go in, like it's a production, right? But it takes me shitload of alcohol to get there. Yeah, wow, to that point. Okay. I mean, before there, I'm pacing up and down. So Raj is sitting as he is probably now, and you see a guy in the background just pacing up and down, because of the anticipation. Because I don't want it to be great. I want it to blow. You don't want to go up there just to get it over and done with.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, when you first started out, because you mentioned like you were born to do this at the end of the day, right? What, when you prepared for that first show that you did, what was going through your mind?
Bro, I was sick as hell. Not literally, but butterflies, all that. So I did a stand-up workshop, and at the end of it, there's a showcase where you invite all your family and friends to come watch. So there's like 15 people and on the workshop, and then their friends and family and that. And my friends came in wearing t-shirts saying "I'm with Tez," and I'm like, I wish I didn't want them to do. And they sat right at the front as well. So the guy put me in at the end because I don't know, for whatever reason, I was headlining even back then. So he put me in at the end, and bro, I was it's more nerve-wracking that your friends are there, because like if it had gone terribly and I never did it again, they would never let me forget it for the rest of my life. Yeah. Every time I crack a joke among them, they're like, "Yeah, you're funny now. What happened that day? Yeah, idiot, whatever." You'd never be able to live it. And I'd be the same if my friend was doing that. I'd obviously, part of you that wants me to do well, but the small part of you that goes, "I hope this goes terribly for him." Because you either want it to be great or terrible.
Yeah.
Because either of those you can work with.
Yeah.
If it's just somewhere in between where it's like, it was fine. It's not a lot to work with there.
Yeah.
Because if you take a piss of you, like, well, I did fine. So, I tried it and whatever. I didn't do anything with it, but it was something I wanted to do and ticked off the bucket list. But man, just the energy in that room was amazing, and everything I tried to do that night just landed. And we were meant to do like 5-6 minutes, and ended up doing 20 minutes.
Oh wow!
Because everything that I prepared in over those 6 weeks, I just did all of it. And in those early days, like I was like rehearsing, like literally verbatim, like in the mirror, practicing the line, almost like I'm doing a Shakespeare play. Like I've got to get every comma, dash, word perfectly right. What I've written. Now it's completely different. Now we'll have ideas, sketch it out, and be like working it out on stage. It's a completely different thing now. But back then, I was just in the mirror, pacing up and down. And I remember that night being at the back of the room, watching everyone else go one by one. Some people doing well, some people not so well, some people in between, and just going, I just want to do fine. I remember just thinking, I just want to do fine. Like I want to get away with this. I want to be like, oh yeah, you did all right. You're not gonna make it, but yeah, man, good for you for having a go. And then I went on, and it was great, man. Like, no, I'm not, it's not going to win any awards, that set, but it was in the room, in the context of it being a first gig and stuff. Like, it was brilliant. Yeah. And I remember just being on that stage, just being bitten, just going, yeah, I think I want to do this.
Do you know what? You mentioned something as well. Like when you went out there, is it the moment that the mic touches your hand, or is it the moment the lights shine on you, or is it that first joke that lands for you?
Yeah, it's it's the first laugh. Yeah. Every night. So whatever night you go on, however big the gig is, however important the gig is, when that first joke lands, calm.
Nerves.
Then you're like, that's it, I'm in. Because I've had enough gigs over the years, especially in the early days, where, the gigs were ropey as fuck. Like, just tough gigs. And, sort of learning phase. And you learn more probably from your bad gigs than you do your good ones. Especially in the early days. Not so much now. Now you're like, the fuck was that for? But in the early days, like you're just trying to learn as much as possible, and the bad gigs helped more than the good gigs back then, because you need to evaluate why. Whereas now it's like, it's the bad day at work, fine. But back then, like, you needed to know why, because you're not trying to figure out what sort of comedian you are. You're trying to find your voice. You're trying to get better on stage. You're trying to increase your stage presence. You're basically working on your craft. It's an art form, right? So all of that you got to learn to do, because you don't know how to do it when you first start. And so it's it was an amazing experience. Those early days I miss. Like, I sometimes look back right now thinking, wow, I remember like being 7 gigs in and doing really well at a show, and everyone's like, oh mate, oh cool, we've not seen you before, how long have you been going? And you can say so proudly, it's my 7th gig, whatever. And they're like, oh man, for your 7th gig, that was great, whatever. And yeah, I miss it, man.
You mentioned the bad gigs, right? How'd you bounce back from that?
Well, one of the most underrated skills that a comedian needs to have, and I don't see it talked about often, is resilience. Mm-hmm. I mean, resilience is a great skill in life anyway, but as a comic, you have to have resilience. You need resilience in any part of life and work and stuff. But as a comedian, you're going up there, you're going on stage and saying to a room full of strangers, listen, I'm the funniest guy in the room right now, and you're all going to look this way and pay attention, and you're going to enjoy what I have to say. That's arrogant. Yeah. That's a very arrogant perspective to have. And so, you've got to be on your game on that, and you just got to make sure that, what was the question? Sorry, bro, it's late at night.
You've fallen asleep on me, Tez.
No, it's late. You know what? It's the second time I've done this, but I've kind of started going, and I've gone, what was the actual question? I'm just like
resilience, bouncing back.
Yes, from the bad gigs. Yeah. So resilience is such an important element of comedy, because I've seen people come and go. I've seen talented people come and go because they didn't have the resilience. And sometimes, you'll have, I'm talking about in the early days when you're learning, you'll have a run of bad gigs, 4 or 5 in a row, maybe a month, maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks of bad gigs. And that's hard, man. Because imagine going up there and everyone's staring at you, expecting you to make them laugh, and then you don't. That is lonely.
Yeah,
that is exposing. It's the most exposing art form you can do. Because at least if you're singing a song or something, you can just get to the end of the song.
Absolutely.
Whereas if you tell a joke and then there's a pause where a laughter should be, and that laughter doesn't fill that pause, you look like a fucking knobhead. So, and it's happened to everyone's heroes, every comedian that everyone has ever loved. It's happened to them, and it's just part of the learning experience. And so, yeah, man, resilience, such an underrated skill or attribute.
Completely agree. Resilience is, especially when you're in front of people, big crowd, and you know in your mind it's gone bad or something's gone wrong, to bounce back from that on the spot, basically, you know, that's definitely something, you know, you probably built up in, you know, in abundance over the years.
Yeah, and also the Sarah Millican, the amazing comedian, there's something called Millikan's Law, and she said this to, you know, people who ask her for advice, which is, however well the gig goes, whether it's the night of your life, worst night of your life, or anywhere in between, you give it till 11 a.m. the next day, and then you forget about it. So whether it's an amazing gig and you're, you know, sort of glorifying in that, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm the best thing since last bread or whatever, come 11 a.m. the next day, boom, done. Or if it's the worst gig you've ever had and you want to cry in a corner and you're like, you want to quit, and you're like, this is, you know what, this ain't even for me, man. Like, what am I doing? I'm a guy who doesn't drink, who goes to rooms above or below pubs, trying to make people laugh for no money. What? That's mental illness, that. What am I doing? But by 11 a.m. the next day, shake it off, boom, on to the next one.
That sounds like great feedback generally in life, right? Like, you know, even in your professional like work capacity, if you have an office job or whatever kind of thing that you do for work, you're gonna have bad days, right? And you're gonna maybe it involves presenting, or it involves you putting yourself out there. Sometimes
or a report or a meeting where you've just said the wrong thing or embarrassed yourself or your boss, or a sales pitch that went wrong, or, you know, all sorts of things.
Yeah. I think resilient, that definitely resonates. Like, I think for me, resilience is something that isn't always spoken about. Like, for any amount of success, there's a lot of suffering and resilience that has gone into that success. 100%. And people always want to talk about the success, but hardly ever will talk about like the shit that you have to go through. Those lonely nights when you're picking yourself up. Like, no one picking you up, right? You're picking yourself up.
Everyone's success is an iceberg. You see the bit at the top, which is what they want you to see, and all the stuff at the bottom is the hard work and the blood, sweat, and tears, and the lonely nights, and the self-doubt, and the self-pity, and the getting to the stage where you want to give up, or maybe you even decide you do give up, and then you come back. Like, all of that is under the surface, and there's a lot more of that than there is the bit at the top, which is the success that you see.
Have you had any moments where you've kind of got really close to just being like, I'm out, like this isn't working for me for whatever reason?
Yeah, in the second, third, fourth year of starting off, you know, got my day job, very well paid day job. It's a career, and I'm out in the evenings trying to make people laugh, and maybe you're not making progress as fast as you want to make. Maybe people who are, you know, your peers, they're slightly marching ahead, and you're like, is this gonna happen for me and stuff? Or you might have that run of bad gigs, and you're like, this ain't for me, you know. Like, no one's gonna shame me if I walk away from this now. I've had some of that I tried, give it a good go, and you know what? Cool, why not? And then you just, you know, those little successes that you do have, even in the early days, you're like, nah. But I know in 10 years' time, I'm going to be watching TV with people that I know, maybe with a loved one, and going and seeing a friend of mine that I'm with now at the bottom make it to like a Live at the Apollo or Mock the Week or something, and be like, that could have been me.
Was that the thing that was like keeping you going then?
Yeah, Paul, that was one of the things. Yeah, definitely one of the things. I don't want no regrets. Like if I'm not to make it, it's because they don't want me.
Yeah.
Or
not because you have given up.
Not because I've given up. Maybe there's an element of maybe I'm not good enough, but not because I've given up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, none of us, the world over, you know, from me to you to The Rock, you know, whoever it is, no one is as good as their best days, and no one is as bad as their worst days. Yeah. It's why in gymnastics scoring in the Olympics, when they do the scoring judges, they eliminate the best score and the worst score, and then they average the scores in the middle, because that's who we are.
100%.
You're definitely wide awake, man, because you're dropping pearls of wisdom.
Bro, I'm just dropping truth bombs, bro.
It's true. I want to just share It took a lot of resilience for me to come back today as well. Hopefully that wasn't too soon.
So we have a segment on this show called Share the Struggle, Find the Funny. So as we kind of briefed you before, we'd be curious to hear if you have a struggle that you'd like to share with us. Could be anything that's happened, big or small, in recent times, or even something that you want to speak about that you kind of just, thought about right now.
Yeah, man. Like, this game is so difficult, and stand-up's going well, and that's you kind of own that. Like, that's, if you're good enough, you'll get work, because the live circuit is very meritocratic. Mm-hmm. If you can make a room full of people laugh, that's undeniable. Like, then you have to be booked, as long as you're not, racist or prejudiced or whatever, bigoted or whatever, right? Like, you are then going to get booked because the room is saying this guy's funny, and you can't cheat that. Mm-hmm. Because the promoters there, the people booking you are there, they're like, yeah, cool, this works. But where it gets a bit trickier then is when you're knocking on the doors of TV and stuff and trying to get stuff made. And I had an opportunity to make a pilot for Channel 4 called Bounty, which is on YouTube, and Channel 4 commission about 4 or 5 comedy pilots every single year, and they've been doing it for about 15 years. And I got to make one in 2017, and a lot of hard work went into that, a lot of feedback, a lot of frustrations, all that stuff. And we made something that I was very proud of. We made something that a lot of people really loved, and they put all of these things on YouTube, so you can go and watch it if you, to the listeners, if they want. And the one that I made, Bounty, was the most successful in the Strand's history by far. Like, in the 15 years they've been doing it, mine has more mine has double the views of second place. Over like 100 odd pilots, right?
Wow.
And it's not like I've got a big social media presence that can be like, well, this guy's got 1 million followers, of course it's going to get, I've got no presence on YouTube. And this is the early days, before I had however many followers I've got on across social media. So this is the early days when, I'm just, obviously I told people on my social, whoever's following me at the time, but the thing gained its own traction on YouTube, and a lot of people were watching it and sharing it and enjoying it. And that's not to say it was universally loved. Not 100% of people enjoyed it, but that's to be expected with anything. But, it was very well received. And then the next step from that is they commission a series, and you go on to make your 6-episode season. And if that's good, you get a second, whatever. But for whatever reason, they were just like, this is Channel 4. The commissioners were like, yeah, don't know. Why don't you just write another episode? Maybe tinker a bit, and then we'll see. And we just got bogged down in development, and it just never happened. And I just remember being so frustrated, because I'm like, you jump through these hoops, right? Yeah. And you do what's expected of you, and it's successful. And then it's still not good enough. And you're like, but then what's the game then? Like, what do we have to do? Because ultimately, these things get commissioned on the commissioner's tastes. Yeah. Whatever the gatekeeper's tastes are, that's what it gets commissioned on. But that's not your job, though. As the commissioner, you should be going, what's best for the network? What's good for the British public or whatever? And people can talk about diversity. You've already got this. If that was the case, that would have got made.
Yeah.
It was outside London, Asians, up north, regional, all that. In terms of a box ticking exercise, it did all that as well as being a good product. So I was like, what is the fucking game then? And you got me, Guz, Sindhu V in one show.
Yeah.
You're never going to get that again.
Yeah.
So on the strength of that, you should have commissioned it. And we could have then, if there's things that you didn't enjoy, we could tinker with that in the script writing phase. We could move a few things and stuff, but it's just like, what do we have to do then? And there's been a couple of times. There's another show that I was working on with Hamza, Diary of a Bad Man, called Shadi Planners. Yeah. And this
already sounds hilarious,
right? Yeah. It's the best thing I've ever written and developed. So it's about 2 brothers, chalk and cheese, who inherit their family's wedding planning business. And my character is the cocky sort of, the sort of guy that goes in The Apprentice. He went to London, worked in finance, made a success of himself. COVID came, got laid off, went back up north. The other brother, Hamza's character, is the guy who stayed at home, worked in the family business forever, knows what he's doing, has all the competency but zero confidence. Whereas I had zero competency but all the confidence. And you put us together, and we're now suddenly running this business, and I've got these high-fluting ideas of what a wedding should look like, whereas he knows the actual business and the market. But because I'm brash and forceful, I get my ideas through, even though he knows they won't work, because he knows what a Desi wedding should look like. And so every episode was a wedding of the week. And we were going to get like massive high-profile guests, and we planned their wedding, and something goes wrong, and then it obviously comes together at the end. And bro, it was an amazing pitch, an amazing pilot. We initially took it to someone at BBC, and they were moving to UK TV, so Dave.
Yeah.
And they were like, you know what? Let me take it to them. And we were like, sure, wicked, cool. You need a champion behind your idea, right? So we're like, cool. If you're passionate about it, if it goes to Dave, it's not the first choice, but wicked, whatever. That's great. It'll find a home online as well. So that's great. And then she was like, making all the right noises. Every feedback bit that we got from them was going really well. And then it came to the commissioning, like, when you take the ideas to the bosses, and they decide of the 10, 20 things, the 2 or 3 things that are going to get made. In that, it just fell through for whatever reason. They decided to make other things, and we're like, but we did all the things. But it was almost like a wink and a nod, like, don't worry, guys, we've got this. And now it's just like doing this merry-go-round between different networks of like, and also since COVID, no one's got any money, so it's harder to get stuff made. And it's just like, what is the game, man? Yeah. Like, what is, like, this is, and because it's disheartening, because you see some of the stuff that does get made, and some stuff is good, but some stuff is trash, bro. Yeah, and you're like, you made that?
Yeah.
Come on.
And it's demoralizing as well, right?
So demoralizing, because I still have ideas, and you're like, well, what's the point of doing 18 months of hard work, knowing that nothing's going to come? Because this is all unpaid work.
Yeah, because you're pitching it,
right? Or they might option it, and you get $1,000 for it, right? And what's $1,000 over 18 months? Right? If this was America and I got an option, at least I'd get $100,000. Yeah. So even if nothing gets, you can make a career. You can make a living out of nothing getting made, just ideas, because they pay you handsomely for those ideas. But it's not the same in this country, and so yeah, it's completely demoralizing.
How much do you think that's going to change with the likes of, Netflix, Amazon, YouTube, Apple? Like, they're all coming into the fray.
Not that much, man, because their priorities are America and then non-English speaking regions. So like you see some great stuff coming out of India, out of Japan, South Korea, China. And there's some stuff that we don't watch because it's not in English, like Spanish stuff, Mexican stuff being made in Africa that we don't know about because we're just not tuned in and stuff. Whereas the stuff made here, generally what's being made is it has to be attached with a massive name. So like Ricky Gervais will get something made, or Catherine Tate will get something made. That's what we're talking about, that sort of level. For me, coming in is I don't have a track record. It's difficult, and there's huge competition. Like for every one commission, there's probably like over 100 people pitching something. It's tough.
This is the side of showbiz you don't see, right? Especially from a viewer's perspective.
Yeah.
When something is commissioned.
Yeah, this is all of that stuff under the tip of the iceberg, man.
Yeah, because whatever you're watching on TV, whether you love it or hate it or are indifferent to it, just know there are probably 1,000 other things that didn't get commissioned because this got commissioned.
That is crazy.
I can't imagine like working for 18 months, putting your heart and soul into something and it not getting commissioned, and then you just playing the waiting game, going around and around.
And that's the game, bro.
Madness.
That's the game.
You're still smiling, which is
you know what? It's because I got
resilience.
It's because I got stand up.
Yeah, of course.
And stand up is there. And stand up is my first love, right? So
yeah.
If I wasn't a stand up, if I was just a writer or actor, bro, you wouldn't have barely heard of me. Like I'd still be working in a day job, or I've got another job or something. I'm like, oh boys, I've got to go. I've got my shift in the morning. Oh, ping. Sorry, I've got to go do a delivery, guys. I'll see you. I'll be back in 20 minutes. But stand up, that's my living.
Let's talk about the stand-up. So, obviously, you had the first special was Testify, and that was. I mean, I've rewatched that a bunch of times. It was what I liked about that was that you took something very like visceral and charged, like the Punish a Muslim day, and you create an entire routine around that, like that being the central piece, and it was so masterfully done, and it was like almost poetic in the way that you end it. It was emotional, like towards the end, just kind of like the way that you kind of finished it, and kind of the comparisons that you're making, and then Wicked is the next one that came out, which we saw a different kind of a Tez, right? This Tez was a bit more passionate, a bit more angrier, a bit more grumpy, as in your own words.
Just older, bro.
And older, right? Like, yeah, and going and again related to that, going through just aging, right? And you know, the same core concepts like, you know, racism, Islamophobia still, you know, feature in that one. But also talking about your inner monologues, you know, mental health, coming straight out of COVID. What can your fans expect to hear from like the tour that you're doing this year? Like how would you compare that, and how would you say that's different to your earlier work?
So early on, I wanted to make art. I wanted to make these artistic shows that have a thread through them and a beginning and an end, and you know, just watch, like to use the word that you used, masterful, crafted. Now, bro, I just want to tell jokes. Like, I've evolved into bro, I just want to go on stage and be funny, man.
Yeah.
And there might be a bit of something to think about, but it's very much in the subtext. So I just want to go out and tell my jokes, and some of them will, and you know, your perspective on life changes. Like, I'm old now, I'm 40, married, still got my nieces and nephews in the background, and yeah, like, you know, I'm just slightly grumpier about the world, and so the stand-up comes from a more grumpy perspective, and grumpy is funny. Like a grumpy guy on stage it's already funny because you're like, this guy's ranting against the world, and sometimes the more the trivial the cause, the grumpier you are about it, the funnier it is, because like, this guy should not be this angry about this thing. And so the new show is very much what I've been up to since my last show. So the show that I did, Wicked, was recorded in 2021, and this show will go out in September 2024 after 8. And it's basically what I've been up to in those last 3 years, and also what the world's been up to in the last 3 years, like what's changed in the world. So it's, you know, changes in my life, getting married, becoming a homeowner, what that means, and then all the political and social changes that we see around us. So commentary on that as well. So yeah, just basically what's happened in the last 3 years, from personally and from what I've observed from my perspective, and just, you know, the same cheeky, subversive sense of humor that I've always had.
I kind of got that from your post as well, especially in January when you heard Christmas songs inside Morrison's.
Yeah,
and I was like,
what is going on? I mean, not talking about January the 3rd, I'm talking about January the 28th.
Yeah. So when you just mentioned, obviously, the grumpy old man. Hey, you're not that old. 40's not old. 40's still young, man.
It is. Life starts at 40, but exactly. I'm growing into my grumpy uncle era.
Yeah, maybe I'm going the same way as well.
What is the thing that gets you the most grumpiest these days?
I have bad road rage. Really bad road rage. And it's so funny because I was driving with my wife I think it was yesterday, the day before, like it was this week, and she literally goes to me, that thing that you're shouting at him about, you just did the same thing 5 minutes ago. And I went, no, I never. You literally just you did that 5 minutes ago, but you didn't notice about yourself. I'm like, whose side are you even on? Who the fuck is that guy to you? but she's obviously right though.
Yeah, she is right.
If you're driving with your missus, you can be angry about things that normally it's like, I can be angry because I'm just angry at whatever just happened. But there's always a commentary.
Bro, she's the VAR. She went, hang on, wait, hang on.
Yeah. Basically, she's a VAR. And then you can't get angry because then you just sound hypocritical.
Yeah.
But then she'll have the exact reasons of what you did wrong.
And then you're annoyed about that.
Yeah.
And you're like, no one made you a ref. Like, what are you doing?
I don't know if you've driven in South London, but South London is not a fun place to drive.
I've driven everywhere, including Pakistan.
How's that?
Really fun. I can't imagine what driving in Mumbai would be like, but it was, probably not that far off.
Did you have did you have someone with you that knew the roads, or were you just kind of going?
No, just me and the missus.
Oh, really?
I took her on a date, and I just grabbed the car from home, and I was like, I'm going, and they were like, what? And I'm like, in a bit, mate. And then when I came back, they gave me a massive. The whole house stood up and applauded.
Wow!
When we came back, they were like, we didn't think you had it in you, but well done. Remember, there's one point. So it's late at night, and you're like back home, like we're in the bin as well. It's pitch black.
That's a different kind of black.
It's a different kind of darkness.
Yeah, it's a different kind of black.
Different kind of darkness. Yeah. And we're driving. We're maybe 5 miles away from home, driving on this stretch of road, and we go past his house, and these two headlights come on, motorbikes. These two motorbikes driving to the road. Bro, I've panicked. I'm like, not today, boys, and I've put my foot down and just fucking shut off. These guys are just minding their own business, two lads and whatever, just going about their night, innit? But I'm like, I'm not about to be an episode of a true crime podcast. Like, I am hightailing it out of here.
In Karachi?
No. This is in Jhelum. This is last.
Okay.
This is 2 years ago. So, This is the last time we went, not this one. And no, in Karachi, they did not let us out of their sight in Karachi. In Karachi, bro, you regularly see pickup trucks with like army guys or rangers with big machine guns on the back of the pickup truck driving around. Karachi is not a city you mess about in, but this is like in the bin coming back from the city, and yeah, bro, I just shit myself for no reason. These guys were probably just going from A to B, and I was like, nah, I'm not about to be taken. I'm off.
Wow. Was your missus just chilling?
No, she was like, "Are we all right?" And I went, I'm looking in the rearview mirror going, yeah. Because the thing I say to my missus, you panic when I panic.
Yeah.
Because you know what it's like, innit? When you have a partner, and I'm not going to say it's only a female thing, because I'm sure there's men who do this as well. But, they're panicking about everything. Oh, we're going to be late. We're not going to be in time. We're going to miss the flight. Like, if I panic, that's when you can panic. Yeah. Like, if we're on the airport for a flight, if I'm panicking that we're going to be late, that's when you can panic. You don't need to panic otherwise. It's under control. You might think that we're cutting it fine, but it's under control.
How does that work?
No, not well. Obviously, not does it. No, of course not. I'm an idiot. Of course it doesn't work.
I can imagine having that conversation with my wife. She'll be like, "Shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's true. And then you get out of the car and everything. And when you get to your destination, you're trying to play it cool. You're like, oh no, I knew nothing was going to happen.
Yeah. Because you're like, just a couple of lads out on an evening stroll.
She goes in and you're like, fuck.
I know. God, can't let anything happen to your wife on your watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Not very scary though, bro. I heard a story in actually this because me and my mum went to Pakistan to surprise her mum, my grandma, and my uncles and stuff. We didn't tell anyone we were coming because the charity sorted a car out for me from the airport to the village. Right? It's like a 3-hour drive, but they sorted all that out, so I didn't need anyone to come pick me up and stuff. I didn't think. Obviously, we told our family here, but we didn't. And they were like, "Tell them, tell one." I'm like, "Do not ruin this. I want it to be a surprise. Do not tell a single soul."
You know how it goes over there.
But it was fun. We got home and they were fully. We got there like 6 a.m. as well, just as they were waking up, and it was brilliant. They were like shocked. They were like, "What the fuck? Wow!" Yeah. And it was amazing. But like, not a week later, bro, I heard a story about a guy, similar thing, went on his own, wanted to surprise his family, and he got in a taxi at the airport. Someone obviously must have sensed he was on his own. He got followed from the airport. Maybe an hour down the road, this car stopped him, and they all dressed as policemen. They weren't police; they were fake, but they were dressed as policemen. An argument, fight broke out, bro. They shot him dead.
Oh shit!
Yeah, this is last month, bro. I was like, I'm never fucking doing that again. What stupid thing that was to do.
No surprises.
You can't piss about over there, man.
No.
Serious.
You got to tell everyone you're coming next time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've done it once. I've done the surprise once. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, it's done. Ain't tempting fate.
No more surprises. That's crazy. Mick, did you have a struggle that you wanted to share?
My struggle.
Putting your daughter to sleep.
Yeah.
we shared that struggle. We collectively shared that fucking struggle.
We already went through that one, so we already used that one up. But I should make that a reoccurring theme.
Yeah,
no, do not. You know what, Tez? This isn't the first time he's done it. There's been multiple.
There'll be like 20 years down the line. Roger's like, your daughter moved out 2 years ago. What are you talking about?
Yeah. It's true.
No, I'll be like, I moved in.
Yeah. my granddaughter.
Yeah, exactly. No, for real. My struggle. Do you know what? Parents' evening. I don't know you don't have kids right now, Tez. Yeah.
I did do parents' evening when I was in school.
I went today for parents' evening, and it's like you're managing the child's expectations, right? Obviously, and then you're managing your wife's expectations. And I remember as we walked in, she was like, "Look, normally, I do all the talking. Today, let's keep it balanced." I was like, "Yeah, cool, let's do it."
Why? Why did you need to keep it balanced? What's the?
I don't know.
Does she tell them off?
No, she doesn't tell them off, but she asks a lot of questions, as any mother would, right? And then the dad's just sitting there. And I was like, "Yeah, don't worry." And I had questions to ask today. We walked in. She asked every single question to the point where she was asking the questions I asked as well. And I was just sitting there. And I think I got the vibe from each of the teachers that this guy today, when someone's making eye contact with you, yeah, and then they just stop because they're like, okay, this is one-way traffic here. So I'm just like there.
So they just start talking to her.
They start talking to her. And then I'm listening intently. And then, you're like, oh, well, they're not involving me in this anymore. My wife's just taken over. And then you see other dads just walking past and they're like trying to give you high fives or just, you know what I mean? Or like, and I'm just like, and then the missus is like, you weren't paying attention. I was like, well, you know what? I was paying attention. And then I was trying to manage the expectations where, you got the teacher where we're now heading into the run into year 6 because my eldest is in year 4. And it's talk about new schools, secondary and all that kind of stuff. And, every parent's expectation of their child is here, and you've got the teachers trying to bring them down to, like where they think they are basically. Right. And I'm just thinking, and I was like, and my daughter's very, don't want to blow Trump, but she's bright, whatever, but I know where she's headed basically. Right. And it is, not to say that she should be over here basically, but obviously teachers get a better outlook, they're more experienced, whatever, to a certain extent. And my missus was, she was like, came home today and thought, I'm surprised I didn't say this about her. She's not where she wants to be or where she wants, where I expected her to be. And you're managing so many expectations, you're managing the teacher's expectations, her, the kids' expectations. And I was just like, damn. I was like, oh man, this is, I should have paid more attention when they were actually, when they were talking to me. But I don't know if you ever went through this. I don't know. And I'm sure there's a lot of parents that go through this as well now, especially in this day and age. But yeah.
Yeah, no, nothing. I've never been to a parents' evening as a parent or a guardian. Yeah, but now I remember our parents' evening back in the day, man. It was always the same thing. He's bright, but he talks too much.
Yeah.
That was always the feedback. Motherfucker should have found me an outlet, innit? Because look at me now.
You're getting paid to talk.
Innit?
Exactly. They never see it. They never see
They don't find his outlets, bro. Like, just someone should have shoved me into drama. Like, someone should have shoved me and gone, this guy has a lot of energy to burn. He's very obnoxious. He's got a lot to say. This guy should be doing drama.
Yeah, 100%.
What do you think about that? Because that is something that is becoming increasingly defunded over the years. Because I remember when I was in school, drama used to be my favorite subject, right? Like in year 7. And then I think they stopped doing it after a while. I don't think it's like offered to all students now. But
yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I stopped. I love drama as well. And I stopped it in year 9. You know, when you do your GCSE choices?
Yeah.
It was that with business studies. And back then I was like, what the fuck am I going to do with drama? Let's do business studies and that. What an idiot. And yeah, no, but brother, it's a real problem. Just like the middle class takeover of the arts is a real issue. Because like working class access has just been decimated. like even the Fringe Festival, which is like the pinnacle of a comedian's year, or at least it used to be, or it is, even if you're a certain level, it still is. And it's so expensive, like obscenely expensive to participate. And you're like, well, it's just more and more difficult for working class people of, you know, every shade to take part in that. And even in acting, bro, all our favorite actors now, they're all middle class private school pricks, bro. However talented they are, and that's not to say they're not talented. They are very, very talented, and they deserve to be where they are. But it's like, how many working class kids that might be as talented as Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Hiddleston, etc., don't get the access to opportunity, and therefore never get the chance to showcase and then make it. It's like Dame Maggie Smith and all these were proper working class kids back in the day. But back in the day, they had access and they had opportunities, and they were pushed and they were able to make it. But that, man, that is disappearing. So unless like a parent is really keen on it, it's hard.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you're a working class parent as well, you're being stretched a million different ways. You know, drama is very, very low down on your priority.
Yeah.
And even for a teacher, you know, I can't really blame my teachers for not thinking that we should find this guy an outlet, because they got 30 kids to control. And that's in one class. And you know how many different classes are they teaching? At least 5, or there's one for every year. And some of them are top set, some of them are fucking bottom set, just idiots. And you know, whereas more babysitting than it is teaching. They ain't got time to think about this one kid who's annoying and be like, oh yeah, that kid, yeah, maybe he could, you know, they ain't got time for that. I can't blame them for that.
Yeah, fair.
But my school had a GCSE pass rate of 35% when I was there. You know what I mean? They ain't got time to think about this guy's hopes and dreams.
Trying to keep that school open.
It's all about increasing that number, that percentage.
Let me ask you a question, Tez. I mean, if there's a budding young comedian, you know, and they want to make it, you know, as far as you have, or, you know, just, you know, sky's the limit, you know, what's the advice you'd give them these days?
First of all, if they're super talented, please don't. I don't need a competition, so just don't. Just go get a job, or what you're doing. It's a waste of time. No, it's there's two different things, right? If you want to be a stand-up comedian, if you want to be on stage telling jokes, then you've got to. I would recommend going on a workshop. Two things. One is like 6 months. You skip 6 months worth of training by doing a workshop, because you get a lot of do's and don'ts, and you get like exercises in writing, and you're among some peers who are all at the same level as you, and you're networking as well, because some of those guys will go into the circuit, you find out about gigs on stuff, and you've got a ready-made set of friends there to enter the circuit with. So I'd recommend doing that, and then just writing and doing as many gigs as you can, and then you're networking and you're progressing and getting better gigs and eventually paid work. But if you're just about wanting to be a comedian, bro, there's never been a better time because of social media. When I started, Instagram was still a photo, a place where you put your photos to let everyone know that your life's better than theirs. YouTube wasn't what it is now. There was no TikTok. Twitter was still just words. And Facebook isn't what it is now either. I mean, Facebook is just terrible anyway. But like, there wasn't the outlet for video and content as there is now. So if you're a young comedian, not necessarily young, but if you're a person who's funny and wants to showcase that, and it's not stand up that you want to do, then make stuff, man. Just make content and put it out there, and don't worry necessarily about the quality of this. You know, it doesn't have to look like a Hollywood movie. You know, it doesn't have to be 4K or that. Like, we've all laughed, the amount of videos that we've laughed at on TikTok and Instagram that are not of the highest recorded quality. That don't matter. Make the content. You'll improve that over time. That'll happen for you. Your content will get better just as you get more experience, as you know what you're doing. Just start doing it. And if you just grab a mate who can be the person behind the camera, or if you've got a mate who's funny and you think, oh man, this guy needs to get out there, man, he's so funny with us or whatever, then encourage him, and you be the guy behind the camera for them. So just go out there, make content, and don't copy other people. Be original. That's not to say you don't be inspired. Of course, take inspiration from whatever source you wish to, from the people that you love, from the people that are doing well. And yeah, do your thing, man. And cream rises at the top. If you're good, if you're funny, if your content is good, people will see it.
Fantastic.
Some wise words.
Yes.
I was taking notes as well.
Yeah,
because I mean, for honestly, right? For us, this is we have full-time jobs. You know, I've got a 6-month-old. Mick has 2 kids.
Wow.
This is probably the worst time in our lives to start something like this, but we decided to do it. You know, we're 6-7 months in now, getting good feedback. You know, we're growing. We are, you know, putting out content that maybe is a little bit rough around the edges. But yeah, no, it definitely, like, it's why not? That's what we keep saying to ourselves. Like, why not? Like,
yes,
we have nothing to lose at this point. It's just an experiment, and you know, we're seeing how it goes. And you know, this conversation is the result of us starting this. Which I don't. If I was thinking back when we started, oh yeah, we're gonna have Tez come on our show twice. He's gonna come back after being stood up by Mick, and then he's gonna do a show. I'll be like, no, it's never gonna happen.
But you don't know, man, until you try something. You don't, and it's not just about comedy. Anyone, if you're a chef that wants to showcase your recipes, if you're whatever you are, whatever skill you have that you want to showcase, start doing it. And, you know, there's so many videos to get you started. Like, if you go on YouTube, whatever niche you're in, whatever question you have, someone on YouTube has answered it. So if you're worried about equipment, lighting, or how you watch a video, like, how did they do that? How did they go on YouTube and ask? Someone will answer the question. Someone will have made a video about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like if I wanted to start a podcast, you go on YouTube and like, how do you start a podcast? Like, they'll tell you. Someone will have made a video A to Z, whether it's remote recording in the room, whatever. Whether when you do video and audio, or just audio, like, someone will have answered those questions.
Yeah, there's also so many different types of tools available now, which is just insane. Even when we were starting our recordings, we went through a few different options, right, to fight until we found the right one. And I mean, it's the luxury, because you know, some are better for transcribing, some are better for editing, and you just kind of figure out what works for you. And even 5 years ago, I don't think there was this much variety. So the amount of ways that you have to express yourselves nowadays is something like we've never seen in history. And I think 100%. That's why you're having people coming out of nowhere that are super relatable to people that haven't really had anyone that they can relate to. You know, Malamo Bean is a classic example of something where you've never saw a show like that about that part of the UK, but it was so well done. So well scripted. The acting was amazing. The comedy was brilliant, and I think I hope that we see more of that. And I think, you know, people like you, Tez, are inspiring the next generation to kind of like be like, oh, actually, I can do that because I can see someone that talks like me, looks like me, and I think you're doing some great work.
Thank you, man. And that's what we want. I want this next generation to come through and take the reins and, you know, stay true to themselves, their community, their backgrounds, and make stuff that is relatable to us.
For sure.
No, beautiful. 100%.
I have one quick struggle that I wanted to share, because I want to get this off my chest. I don't know if either of you can relate to this, but I'm gonna fucking tell the story. About 2 weeks ago, my mom called me up. I was at work. Normally, when you get a call from your parents during work hours, something's wrong. They need some kind of assistance. So my instant reaction is to pick up the phone and ask. I don't even ask how they're doing. I just say, what is wrong? And she said, the boiler's broken. I was like, all right, fine. Okay, can you go over to the boiler? So she went over to the boiler. I said, what lights are on? She said, there's no lights on. I said, okay, there must be something. If you turn it on or off, nothing's happening. She was like, no, nothing's happening. And then she was, oh, it's too cold. So she went back inside, and then she gave my dad the phone. And then I said, okay, put your video camera on. And then my dad doesn't know how to swap the front facing camera for the back facing camera. And then my mum's adding commentary in the background. Meanwhile, he's nowhere near the boiler. The boiler is still like miles away, and he's still trying to figure out like all of this. And then I was like, it's fine. Forget it. I put the phone down. I'm just going to call someone to come over to fix this, because I am not going to fuck around and do this long remote tech support, right? I don't know why that. If it's my parents, I get more worked up. If it was Mick's dad calling me up asking me, I would have an extra level of patience.
Bro, there is nothing like your own family to bring out the rage within you.
Yeah. 100%.
Why? Why is that?
Just is what it is.
And I got so worked up. I was like, I'm just gonna put the phone up. And then I called this company. Should I name them? I don't know if I should name them. HomeServe. Fuck it. I called this company up and I said, look, I'm paying you money. The boiler's broken. That was in my head. That was what I was gonna say. Every time you call one of these companies up, they always say to you, we are experiencing an unexpected high number of calls. Have you ever called up any company anywhere where they haven't given you that blanket statement? And especially when especially if you've got, anger from the previous phone conversation that is now migrated into the current phone conversation, and you can't even let loose the anger on anything because you're talking to a machine. So then I was on the call, waiting on hold. Eventually got hold of another person, and she says to me, oh yeah, I can see that we have your account, we have you covered for emergency repair. Stress the word emergency. So I said, yeah, my parents, I've got elderly parents, they don't have hot water right now, it's freezing cold, can you get someone out as soon as possible? And they said, yes, the earliest we can get someone out is on Wednesday. This was a Monday.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. surely by paying for emergency care, right, I'm expecting emergency. You don't go to A&E and they're like, hold up, come back in 3 days.
Well,
okay, all right, 12 hours. 12 hours.
Yeah.
12 hours, not 48. And then, I got even more angry. Then I was like, for fuck's sake. So then I have two options here. I either now spend another half an hour, 45 minutes trying to find another person randomly, like, a gas engineer or whatever, to go to my parents' house. But that means I need to find someone who's reputable, find someone that's not going to mess them up, find someone that's come on a recommendation, find someone that has some reviews. Or I call up dad and try and deal with the remote tech support nightmare. And I was like, I'm just gonna try and do it. And then, like, my dad was somehow struggling to find it. He managed to get to the boiler. The pressure was low.
Yeah, you just gotta turn the knob.
Yeah. So then I had to I had to guide him through. Can you turn the knob? Extra. But then I was honestly at this point I was like, whatever he does isn't going to work. I didn't think it was going to work. So I was like, just find a knob and just turn it until the valve opens up. If you feel like the valve is opening, just keep going. And then it was like, how long do I leave? I said, just fine. Just leave it for however long, leave it for like a couple of minutes or so. In my mind, I'm thinking this thing could blow up any minute now. The phone's going to get cut, right? Because boilers can, right? If you increase the pressure too much, a boiler will blow.
Absolutely.
But then I was like, no, it should be right. It'll be okay. And then it was like, shall I turn it off? Now it's been like 3 or 4 minutes. And in that period of time, my dad's now giving me the latest and the greatest of news of all of the friends in his life and who's done this and who's doing that and who's going there and who's opened a shop up here or who's closed a shop over there. So then we get back to business, and it turned out that it was the pressure thing somehow got fixed and had almost the exact amount of pressure that was needed. And then, I was so surprised that he managed to fix it.
I fixed a similar, almost exact same issue I fixed in the house, like in November. Yeah. You got to twist the knob.
Yeah, but doing it by yourself.
No, I can't imagine having had to get my mum on the phone and having to talk her through it. Would have been hard work.
Yeah, it was stressful to say the least. But yeah, I don't know if you've had situations like that where you're kind of talking. I mean, you said it right. Like, you have a different type of rage that comes out to your immediate family. Like, what kinds of things happen? Do you have examples?
Bro, man, just all the time. Like, not so much rage, but like just the things that they put on you. Like I was going to a gig the other day, And my cousins rang me, and she's like, "Oh, where are you?" It's like it's a Friday night. Like, obviously, I'm on the way to work, but I'm like, "Oh, I'm halfway to Warwick." No, where was I going? No, it wasn't Chesterfield. It's like like Cheshire, right? Like somewhere, like an hour and a half away from home, anyway, right? So I'm halfway to the place I'm going, and she's like, "Oh," I'm like, "What? Is everything all right?" She went, "Yeah, just my brothers are going to Pakistan, and to my cousins, they're going to Pakistan, and they've got too much luggage, and they're not letting one of the suitcases go. So now we need someone to go to the airport to go and pick this suitcase up." And I'm like, four people in your house drive, Badge. But no, my uncle, my cousin's husband, he's in bed. He's got taxis at 3 a.m. He ain't getting up. And me and my 2 daughters are not confident enough to drive to Manchester Airport. So I'm like, so I had 2 gigs that night. Finished the first one, drove up to Warrington for the second one, then went to the airport to look for a suitcase that I knew wasn't going to be there, because it's a fucking airport. It's not just going to be. They can't have a suitcase just lying around for 3 hours. So I got there. Airport's shut anyway because no flights go after 10 p.m. So it's cost me £5 to go in through the expressway. Then I have to go to the main car parking thing. Then I went to the departures lounge. Obviously, suitcase is nowhere to be seen. It's not where my cousins had left it. So I went to.
So wait, hold on. They just left. They
had to because. So this is the worst thing. So it wasn't either of my cousin's suitcase. It was their mum's suitcase who'd already gone the week before, and she was like, "I got too much luggage. One of you is going to have to take my suitcase." So they had to leave it. Otherwise, they would have missed their flight because no one could have got to the airport in time. The airport's like an hour away, right? So from Blackburn, and they're not one of them where they'd gone. They hadn't left like 4 hours beforehand.
Okay.
So they'd gone. So they had just enough time to do everything.
Yeah.
And Lost and Found is shut, and it cost me another £6 to get out of that car park. So it cost me £11 plus whatever petrol, and it was just an absolute wasted trip, which I knew it was going to be anyway. When my cousin was sat at home with 4 people in the house that could have driven there.
Would they have got there sooner?
But they could have got there. They rang me at 7:40.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So they could have got there by 8:45.
Okay, yeah.
If it takes you 5 minutes to get into the car and leave.
Yeah.
I got there at 11:30.
Yeah, it's long gone. Did you get it in the end?
No, so then someone went not on Saturday, someone went on Sunday, and apparently it's been disposed of.
Oh wow! That quickly, that quick.
Oh shit! Jokes.
Oh wow!
Hilarious.
I hope there was nothing of like value in there.
Well, I said this to them because I got on the phone to my cousin who was at the airport, and I was like, there's no money in there, is there? There's like nothing of value like that, and there wasn't, luckily. So it was just like shawls and clothes and stuff like that. Still of value, but not,
Yeah,
monetary.
Yeah,
no monetary or sentimental value, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's what you do. Sometimes you just have these random errands that you need to run,
bro. And I was like, just go to Manchester. It's a mission. The thing is, I love doing missions, innit? Like, it's a mission though. Like, go to the airport, on the way back, go to the Trafford Centre, get some Wingstop, and just have a nice evening and that, and then just come home and that. Like, the 3 of you, get 3 of you in the car. You and your 2 daughters,
you make it a trip out of it.
Make a little fun night of it.
Yeah.
No. So what happens when you don't lead a life full of missions, innit? Then anything just becomes too big.
That's true. 100%. You know what? When I get a message from my dad, and it starts with a WhatsApp message saying, "Can you dock?" And I'm
he knows you though.
He knows, and I'm like, you know what? Let's. I mean, when I'm not sleeping, obviously, but he's like, "Can you dock?" And I'm like, and do you know what? I know it's going to be, or it'll be like, "Can you do me a favor?" And this favor isn't like a quick thing. Yeah, this is a very long-winded favor. And I'm always like, you know what? If I'm busy, then I might ignore it. And then I'm like, you get that sun guilt.
Yeah,
you get the sun guilt kind of thing. Yeah, like, you know what? What is it, Dad? He was like, I need you to go to Fulham and pick up a package for me, and my dad's in India right now. He's like, I need you to go to Fulham to pick up a package. Fulham is basically 50 minutes from where I live.
And then you're driving in London as well, so fucking
exactly, and 50 minutes back. And I was like, fine. I was like, you know what? I was like, okay, fine, let's do it. And he goes, can you go at 8 p.m? And I was like, no, Dad, I can't go at 8 p.m. Putting the kids to sleep, aren't I? Yeah, yeah. And he's like, okay. Then he was like, you know, he just sends me he's like, okay, I'll figure a time out. Instead of figuring a time out, he's like, oh, he sends me the number of the person I need to pick up something from. And I was like, why'd you send me his number? I thought you were sorting out a time. He's like, no, you can sort it out.
Oh, that's long. So you got to call this random man. You don't know what the package is. You don't know who the guy is. You got to coordinate the pickup.
I got to coordinate the pickup, and then there's someone coming to pick up once I've got the package, it stays at my house, and then I hear nothing from my dad. Yeah, nothing. So I don't know what is in this package or whatever it is. Yeah, and I'm like, raging because I'm like, now I have to chase my dad to say, who's coming to get this package? When are they coming? So he'll give it to you in drips and drabs. So I'm like, who's this package for? And he's like, oh, you know this person, whatever. He texts me their name. Okay, fine. And then I'm like, what time are they coming? And he'll be like, oh, then he drops me another number. He drops me another number. And he's like, call this person and tell him what time is good for you to come pick the package. And this package I had to take this package with me for a walk. Yeah. Because I had no idea what was in it. Yeah. Turns out, yeah, it's just some toothpaste from India.
What?
Yeah. Because the lady who came to pick it up tonight just before, yeah, she opens it up. And she's like, oh, thanks for my toothpaste. I was like,
wow.
I went 2 hours for I went there 50 minutes and there back 50 minutes.
Why couldn't she have gone to Fulham to pick it up?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I thought
like your parents volunteer you for other people. And you're like, don't those people have people?
Always. Yeah, always. Like, my mum used to do this thing where she'd invite one of her friends to come over. And on a Friday night when I was living at home back in the day. And obviously, you know, and then at 10:11, this person obviously was picked up by my mum, right? And at 10:11, my mum will, you know, the lady will, you know, who my mum's friend would be putting on a jacket and everything. And I'll be in my room and she'll be like, my mum will be like, oh, Mick. And then in front of her say, oh, can you do me a favor? Just go drop Auntie home, please. And obviously I'm raging in my head. And I'm like, and then this awkward conversation on the way there. You know, what do you talk about? You know, there's obviously things to talk about, but I just like, you know, tactics, man. But these are the things, man. These are my pet peeves anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's what happens, man. Parents just put you in it. Because they know that they can. They know that Absolutely. They can, man. And that son guilt starts to play on your mind. And then before you know it, you're carrying people's toothpaste halfway around the streets of South London. Oh, all right. I think that's us. It was. I think today was great. Thank you so much, Tez.
Thank you for having me. It was. I've had a lot of fun.
Thanks for coming back.
Thanks for coming back.
But yeah, is there anything that you want to plug? Anything that you want to kind of, get people, get on people's radar? Anything you want to kind of share?
Yeah. So my tour is on sale now, coming all over the country. In London, I'll be at the Hackney Empire Theatre on Saturday, 3rd of November. I think that's the date, but tezilyas.com for all the dates. And I'm sure wherever you listen to this in the UK, I'll be coming, or Britain, I should say, because I'm not going to Northern Ireland on the tour. But in Britain, I'll be coming to a city/town near you. So yeah, please come and support and watch the show.
Thank you. We'll put all of the links into the description. So please check those out and make sure if you haven't seen, for whatever reason, living under a rock, you haven't seen any of the work this man has done, please do that. So just another thing, my wife's American, and she obviously didn't grow up here and seeing any of like, you know, the shows that you were in, like Man Like Mobeen and also the stand-up specials. So I've been rewatching that recently with her, and I've been telling her over the past few weeks, I mean, since the first message, I was saying, oh yeah, Tez Ilyas is coming, he's gonna come on our fucking episode, he's gonna be on our show. I don't think it landed, and we've been watching Man Like Mobeen for the past 2 or 3 weeks. Yesterday, we're having breakfast, And I was just preparing for the episode. And she's like, yeah. And then I had it on. I had Man Like Mobeen just playing because we were watching it. And I was like, oh, this would be jokes if I just started talking about like episodes and stuff. She goes, what are you talking about? And I was like, this is Tez. She was 8. You're going, oh my God. Mick fell asleep on 8. You guys are stupid. You guys need to fix up. Tell him. Why did they kill 8? Tell him that your wife is fangirling when you do the episode. I have to tell you all of these things because this is basically what happened this morning. She was so like so hyped up when she realized who was coming on.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, it was awesome. And you've made us laugh again very much after as we've rewatched Man Like Mobeen. Awesome show.
Good. And I hope I see you guys at my show in London.
Yeah,
if you can arrange some babysitting.
Yes,
sounds like both your parents owe you favors anyway. So
exactly. We'll have live packages for our parents to look after.
Yeah.
I'll have a t-shirt on. Yeah, I fell asleep on Tez.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, and catch you next time. Share the struggle, find the funny. Thank you once again, Tez, for gracing us with your presence, and we'll see you back again next week. See you later, people. Bye.
Take care, guys.